with a scrimmage alongside Graham Nash and Abel Wajenki to jump center. And the Indiana men's basketball exhibition is underway. Thank you so much for joining us here on Big Ten Plus. Reed Bailey handling up top, the Davidson transfer. Handoff to Connor Enright. You'll see a lot of this fast-paced ball movement. Tayton Connerway misses the first field goal attempt of the evening, and Marian is out and running in transition. Here's Aiden Franks, someone that Marian's coaching staff is very high on. Blake Russell out up top. Aaron Humphrey gets his first touch. Noah Lovin inside, turns around, and he traveled. Noah Lovin, the sophomore out of Jeffersonville, commits the first turnover. 30 seconds in, Graham. This is an Indiana team that if the Cream and Crimson scrimmage is anything to go by, they are going to play fast and they're going to shoot a lot of threes.
That's exactly right. That's something that'll be very fresh and renewing for Indiana fans, as well as last year's Indiana team didn't shoot the basketball very well from beyond the arc. This team much, much different in that regard.
Lamar Wilkerson, one to watch. He drives inside, misses off glass as Bailey goes to the floor. Here's DeVries from downtown. And his father, Darren DeVries, said he's lauded as a shooter, but his basketball IQ is perhaps even more impressive.
That's something that this team will absolutely use, a little bit of leadership, all new players.
Up and under from Aiden Franks, and we talked about Marian struggled last year. A lot of injuries. Aiden Franks, a redshirt sophomore, was able to take advantage, and he got a lot of playing time under head coach Pat Knight a season ago. Tucker DeVries into the paint, fades and hits. Tucker DeVries expected to be a leader on this team. He's a fifth-year senior, over 110 career games played, and Graham, you see his confidence here early.
Yeah, and I think that comes from him being at his healthiest. That's what he said before the season started. That's what Darren DeVries said. He is really, really healthy, feeling really good playing basketball right now.
Here's Noah Lovin into the paint. Back outside to Ron Rutland, the Crispus Attucks High School graduate. Fades and fires and flushes it home from just inside the three-point line.
Well, that's a pretty move, and that's big for Pat Knight, because something he said is he didn't want this team to feel overwhelmed coming to Assembly Hall. Obviously, the atmosphere, something that Marian doesn't get a lot of, so getting a quick bucket like that is going to be big for the Knights.
Wilkerson steps back, but he's harassed by Lovin, so he gives it up to Tucker DeVries. Reed Bailey, you'll see him inside the paint a lot. Little pick and roll and a two-hand flush. Tucker DeVries, all 7 of Indiana's points in the first couple of minutes.
Yeah, 7 points. All of them for Tucker DeVries. He's showing off that health, showing off that IQ. A great cut there.
Something Darren DeVries said Indiana is going to pride itself on, moving off the ball. Tipped out of bounds by Connerway, harassing Noah Lovin there. Connerway, a 2-time transfer, couple of junior college stops, and then 2 years at Troy. Sunbelt Player of the Year last year was Connerway. Lively student section here on homecoming weekend. Aiden Franks misses the fadeaway. Reed Bailey there for the rebound. Out and running in transition. Darren DeVries said he wants Reed Bailey to do a lot of that throughout the season. Handoff to Wilkerson into the paint. And Connerway now. Double team. Nice pass to DeVries. Deflected out of bounds and last touched by Reed Bailey inside.
And I think that's something that we might see a bit of in this exhibition, and maybe the next one as well against Baylor, is just a little bit of those turnovers, a little bit of sloppy passes. This team still trying to find a bit of that chemistry together. That Puerto Rico trip, the only thing that they have right now under their belt.
Here's Noah Lovin. Good defensive pressure by Connerway, but Aaron Humphrey is there. Nice baseline cut by Franks. Now shot clock becoming a factor outside, nearly a turnover. Got to get a shot away. Humphrey misses off back iron. Or that was Ron Rutland firing from downtown. Now Tucker DeVries brings it up the floor for Indiana. Here's Wilkerson. Negative. Offensive rebound for Enright. Tucker DeVries from way downtown. Not quite. Very confident shooting early, though. Here's Franks in transition on DeVries. Off glass, no good. And Connerway the rebound. Indiana pushing the pace. Reed Bailey's pass deflected and stolen by Aaron Humphrey. And into the paint, blocked by Wilkerson. And Indiana keeps it inbound. Good job there by Connerway, following up after the block.
Well, there's that pace that we talked about, Nick. Rapid start.
Wilkerson couldn't quite pay it off, but we see Indiana taking a lot of threes very quickly.
Yeah, that's going to be a big part of this team's identity this season. Again, That's a great sign after last season's team didn't really shoot that many threes. One of the lowest teams in the conference in three-point attempts.
Wilkerson out and running, had his pocket picked, and that'll take us to the first timeout of this first half. 15:40 to go. Tucker DeVries has all 7 of Alexis, a 2-time transfer. Won a national championship last year with Florida, was with Chattanooga before that. Enright to inbound from the baseline, gets it out to Tucker DeVries. DeVries driving, spinning into the paint, a double team. There's Sam Alexis underneath, blocked from behind. He gets it back, all kinds of pressure. Kick out Wilkerson, just short. DeVries again inside. He was fouled, perhaps ruining the missed opportunity at a three-point play there.
But great aggression from Tucker DeVries and just good ball movement. Wilkerson on the outside. Sam Alexis felt the presence behind him, and he was able to turn around, find Wilkerson. That shot didn't go down, one that Wilkerson is very capable of making. But Tucker DeVries just in the right place at the right time, scooped it up, just couldn't quite get the and one to fall.
DeVries has all 7 of Indiana's points so far, and make it 8 right there. Hoosiers have already attempted 4 three-point baskets. DeVries made the only one. Second free throw, 2 for 2 to start the night is DeVries from the line. And Ron Rutland, the IU Indy transfer, one of a couple Division I transfers on this Marian team, bringing it up the floor. There's a nice cut from Aiden Franks, and he can't quite finish at the rim. Wilkerson elevates to grab it. Here's Enright. DeVries, right side. Couple bounces and tipped in on the second effort. There's Trent Sisley off the bench for Indiana.
Trent Sisley getting some time. Some Hoosier fans going to be happy about that. An Indiana kid himself, and he's got some good height. He's got some good feel, good touch. He's going to be another exciting player to watch.
As sent to the deck is Noah Lovin. Humphrey gathers at the top, working on Enright. Defense comes from Sisley. See him motoring around early. Late shot clock again for Marian. Good defense by Indiana. Into the corner, got a hoist. No good. Good defense so far from Indiana.
Yeah, the Hoosiers did a great job switching there a couple times where they were in no man's land.
Wilkerson left open, and you just can't do that. Lovin tried to intercept the pass, and as good of a shooter as Lamar Wilkerson is, 40% from three-point range for his career, he's not going to miss many of those open looks.
No, he's really not. 44.5% from 3 last season. An unbelievable number, led Sam Houston State in 2025.
Blake Russell, harassed by Sam Alexis, has to kick back to Aiden Franks. Every Marian possession going late into the shot clock. Franks crossing over, bumping with DeVries, and he traveled again. He was getting close to the baseline as well, but you see the ball pressure from Indiana. Darren DeVries talked about it. They're going to pride themselves on max effort at all times, and you're seeing that here early.
Yeah, and he really wanted to see the defense be more connected in this exhibition. Said that in Puerto Rico, he felt like there were times where that defense got a little disconnected, guys left open on the perimeter. Early on in this game, they've done a good job switching. I think that's the big sign for this team early on the defensive side.
Trent Sisley, the native of Santa Claus, Indiana. Nice ball movement underneath, and Alexis flushes it with 2 hands. Left all alone. Alexis standing at 6'9". A very physical player, one of the more physical players in the paint that Indiana has on this roster. Joshua Renfro gets his first touch, as does Luke Carroll. Here's Carroll underneath the basket, and he stepped out of bounds. And Josiah Miles checking in. Indiana going to its bench very quickly, as you might expect in this exhibition. You want to get everybody on the floor, get their feet wet, playing against another team.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And something else that Darren DeVries said before the game in his press conference earlier this week was he wants to see what combinations work well together. Because again, this is only the 4th real time that this team has played together against another opponent. He's trying to find what sticks.
Sisley inside to Alexis. Now Wilkerson back out. He drives underneath and lays it in. And that's the danger with Lamar Wilkerson. He can score at all 3 levels.
Yeah, he's so good. He can get that little pump fake, get a guy in the air because you have to follow him, and then drive baseline, puts his shoulder down as well as anybody. Maybe not the tallest guy that can work down low, but he's got the size, got that low center of gravity that's working for him.
Renfro over to Rutland in front of the Indiana bench. Rutland moving inside, fades away. Did not get the bounce, and Alexis down with the rebound. Josiah Miles, he's got space. Don't know that Wilkerson's going to shoot from that far out, at least not yet. Connerway and Alexis trying to work some two-man action. Alexis working his way in. The double team comes, and he's fouled as Humphrey got him on the arm. But it's tough for Indiana in these early season stretches. They've been dealing with some injuries, and Darren DeVries talked about it. That's one of the big pieces. It's just early in the season, there are a lot of unknowns, and with so many guys trying to get back fully healthy, I think the coaching staff is somewhat as much in the dark as we are. Alexis misses the first free throw. Josiah Gustin coming in for Marian as Humphrey goes to the bench. But it's tough when you're not healthy. There's not a whole lot of chemistry that you can establish with your entire rotation.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And again, that's why these exhibitions are so important.
Sisley with the offensive rebound, and he lays it in. Indiana's defense very stingy early on in this one. Franks has been one of the primary ball handlers. Here's Rutland along two, a little bit too strong. Trent Sisley in short time, he's got his fingerprints all over this game. That pass deflected out of bounds by Franks as Sisley was coming open in the near side corner very often. Indiana in the front court out of the timeout. Connerway tries a straight on three and whiffs. And the rebound to Josiah Gustin. Didn't know if we'd see him tonight. He was nursing a back injury earlier this week. Marian caught the injury bug in full force a season ago. Nice off-ball movement from Aiden Franks as Marian tries to find an open shooter. Up top, here's Rutland. Over near us to Luke Carroll. From the block, misses the fadeaway. And into the hands of Sam Alexis goes the rebound. Tucker DeVries brings it up the floor. And DeVries tries another three, and again, he's money from downtown. DeVries has made both of Indiana's three-point attempts so far in this game. He's been very confident shooting from outside. Yeah,
and very good to see if you're Darren DeVries in this Indiana team, because he only played in 8 games last season with West Virginia.
Joshua Renfro misses just right of center. But Tucker DeVries hampered by injury with the Mountaineers a season ago. Here's Bailey into a double team. Connerway open for a second, but passed it up. Bailey on Gustin inside. He spins, he lays it up and misses, but there's Alexis on the glass again. Open shooters up top. Here's Tucker. Count. DeVries times 3, Graham. He's on fire.
Yeah, well, despite only playing in 8 games, he shot about 47% from 3 at West Virginia. This guy can knock him down from anywhere on the court.
His release is pure. Into the paint, Gustin, blocked by Alexis. Seeing Alexis's size in the paint early. Heat check. Oh, he was fouled. DeVries and Joshua Renfro went to the deck there. You see Tucker DeVries quick to pull the trigger. It doesn't matter where.
No, it really doesn't. We saw him shoot a couple of those in warm-ups as well. Pretty much carbon copy, where he was off balance, 1 foot in the air, and he has the ability very much so to knock those down. Just a bit of contact there from Renfro, and took him to the hardwood.
So DeVries misses the first of 3 foul shots. But Tucker DeVries spent 3 years at Drake, followed his dad to West Virginia. A 2-time Player of the Year in the Missouri Valley Conference. As he makes the second free throw. A couple of substitutes for both sides coming in. Wilkerson and Enright back for Indiana. And Noah Lovin and Lamar Jones back on the floor for Marian. But I'm sure Tucker DeVries is just excited to be healthy again. See if he can go 2 for 3 from the line here. And that he does. Marian has not scored in over 7 minutes of game time. 0 for its last 10 from the floor. Talk about that defensive effort for Indiana. Carroll harassed by Wilkerson as DeVries fights around the screen. A lot of traffic up top. Lovin had it swatted away and stolen by Connerway. Indiana out and running once again. Connerway bluffs the handoff to Wilkerson. Now back it goes. And Enright between the rings. Enright to DeVries. In the corner, here's Connerway. Money. And Pat Knight wants a timeout. Tatum Conaway under 30% for 3 in his career, but no trouble right there. Or 6 for its last 7. Marian, on the other hand, has not scored in over 7 minutes of game time. Joshua Renfro brings it across the timeline. And Graham, this intensity from Indiana defensively is palpable, as Tucker DeVries perhaps a little too intense as he fouls Noah Lovin.
Yeah, the defense, the pressure is what has led to this big offensive spark, as DeVries just kind of got caught, and looks like that was Reed Bailey that reached in. But the defense has still been phenomenal. Right before that break, what caused the timeout from Pat Knight was that Tatum Conaway steal. Every Hoosier is finding a way to stay up close to those players that they need to defend. And then when there is a breakdown, they have switched really, really well. And Marian, I feel like, has gotten some pretty good shots off early on in this game. They just haven't fallen when they've gotten those opportunities.
Lovin at the line. Misses the second. There's Bailey for the rebound. Lovin, one of only 2 Marian players to appear in every game last year for the Knights. It shows you how struck they were by injuries. Wilkerson behind the back pass. Here's Bailey. Yes. Wilkerson nonchalant behind the back right there. You see maybe some of that chemistry starting to come to the forefront.
Yeah, it's starting to build a little bit. That's what, again, these exhibitions are all about, just creating some of that team chemistry.
And I think they got Wilkerson for a foul away from the play there. So it'll be side out Marian. But Wilkerson, 2-time first-team All-Conference when he was at Sam Houston State. He started 63 consecutive games. You want to talk about experience coming into Bloomington. He might be the poster child. Here's Josiah Gustin, wants to hand it off to Lovin. And Lovin meets some of the fans sitting courtside. And I think somebody just lost their Dragonfly IPA, as they get Josiah Miles for the foul. Miles, the North Florida transfer. And the towel crew working overtime. I'll tell you what, Graham, I saw the price tag. That is an expensive spillage in front of us.
That's not one that you want to see go down.
Collective groan from the students and fans. Jeremy Gray having some fun. He called party foul as well. I don't know how many times he's had to say that, but Josiah Miles coming over from North Florida. Teammates with Josh Harris over there. Those two are roommates, and IU Student Media's own Zach Browning did a feature story on the two of them. They play Fortnite together when the basketball activity is all said and done. In the competition, Miles and Harris, they push each other as hard as 2 teammates you'll ever see. Here's Blake Russell outside to Lamar Jones. Marian trying to get something going offensively late in the shot clock once again. Here's Noah Lovin. Somebody's got to fire. He's the one to do it, and he misses everything. And Grant, obviously you take everything with a grain of salt given the strength of the competition, but it is encouraging to see Indiana's defensive intensity regardless of the score, regardless of the situation.
Yeah, exactly, especially because Darren DeVries said that that's what he wanted to see today.
As Enright misses a 3, offensive rebound for Josiah Miles. Outside to Wilkerson. Yes! Said it before, you cannot leave him open outside, but you talk about DeVries wanting to see that intensity. I feel like he's liking what he's seeing so far.
Yeah, definitely. There's been a lot of claps over from Darren DeVries, really enjoying, encouraging his team on the defensive end. That's all that he really wants. Of course, you want to see that offensive chemistry, but defensive chemistry can sometimes take longer to develop. So that's going to really, really excite a head coach that has a brand new team.
Wilkerson swats it away. Back to Renfro with 3 on the shot clock. Jones, now Gustin, blocked away. And another shot clock violation. Josiah Miles out of the timeout. Indiana. The defense, I think, has been the bigger story, but also Tucker DeVries as confident shooting from downtown as Sam Alexis is dunking. That's already the 2nd or 3rd time we've seen him elevate.
And that is just filthy ball movement. It felt like at each different blink, a different Hoosier had the basketball. There's that quick pace that this team's going to play with.
Renfro bluffs a 3. Lovin inside, extra pass. Good ball movement there by Marian, but Blake Russell couldn't pay it off. Tucker DeVries at 6'7", bringing the ball up the floor. Trent Sisley knocks it down. And Sisley, a true freshman, positioned for serious playing time. He's been a name to watch for a long time in the high school ranks, finally down here in Bloomington.
Yeah, and for good reason, standing 6'8", but still has that ability to shoot.
As Aiden Franks knocks down the 3-ball for Marian. But Sisley holds the Heritage Hills High School records for rebounds and points alike, and he set them both in 3 years before he went to Montverde. There's Aiden Franks taking it the length of the floor. Pat Knight calling him a really smart player who's also a good shooter, but he's better off the ball.
Yeah, he was the Crossroads League's Freshman of the Year, and for good reason. Got a lot of starts late, which gave him good experience.
Josiah Miles too strong. Offensive rebound, DeVries. Sisley back to Enright at the top. Miles again. Here's DeVries in the paint. Sisley's open. Twice as nice for Trent Sisley. You mentioned Sisley went to Montverde. Of course, a lot of notables to come out of there. Cooper Flagg, Liam McNeely, Derek Queen, and of course, Jalen Hood-Schifino as well. Aiden Franks creates space, and there he is again. Slippery is how you would describe him.
Yeah, he's starting to find his footing, really getting shifty, creating some good separation, not relying on the pass as much, just creating by himself.
Wide open underneath is Alexis, and you can't do that. Darren DeVries, after that last 3 from Aiden Franks, saw him shaking his head as he leaned on the scorer's table. It's one of those lapses in defense for Indiana. See if Franks tries another one. Not quite as open this time. Inside to Humphrey, and he buries it. So now 3 straight baskets for Marian. The Knights starting to find their footing on offense.
Yeah, it felt like they got some good looks early on in the game. Those shots just weren't really falling. Now they're settling in. Again, Pat Knight said this to us. He felt like there was a chance that they were a little off mark.
Tucker DeVries, not off the mark.
He has not been off the mark pretty much since this game began, but just to finish that point, I mean, the Knights coming into this kind of environment, we've said it a little bit already, there was going to be some nerves. The question of how quickly could they settle said nerves was really going to depend how quickly the scoring got going for them.
Inside goes Humphrey, around the horn now to Lovin. And the handoff, here's Franks again, off the mark. Indiana already up to 50 points, and we haven't hit the under 4 timeout yet. That's how fast the Hoosiers are playing in this first half.
And that's why Indiana really wants to see that defense be strong.
Here's Enright, count it. Connor Enright, another sharpshooter, 37% from downtown for his career. Spent the first 2 years of his career at Drake with Darren DeVries before coming over to Indiana from DePaul a season ago. And hold that.
Not only playing together, but playing in the Pat Knight system.
And Gus Etchison transferring out of Knight's Marian program to the Division I level. You might recognize his name because he raised some eyebrows when Marian was in town each of the last couple of years. But also for Pat Knight, there are no true seniors on this roster. So it's entirely possible that this program might have another year of this same core at this time next season. Definitely something to get excited about. Aiden Franks leading the charge. He's now got 12 of Marian's 17 points. He's really heated up.
Yeah, Franks is finding his jump shot really, really nicely, settling into the environment. And to your point about how the Knights might have this core again next year, they also might not, because Pat Knight wants to see these guys go to the next level.
Reed Bailey lays it in, plus the foul, so a chance at a 3-point play for the Davidson transfer. But Pat Knight called himself sort of the G League of college basketball. So we get a look at Bailey finishing through contact. He said, I'm going to help you get paid, but it's not going to be me that's paying you. It's going to be hopefully his players getting to the Division I level, not too dissimilar to what Gus Etchison did transferring from Marian to Idaho State.
And it was interesting because he talked about the transfer portal and how that's changing the landscape, and said that it's kind of players are getting overlooked. So while he's wanting these players to advance, he feels like he's also getting better players.
Connerway elevates and finishes. And look who forced that turnover, Tucker DeVries.
He's just all over the place. He's got such a good eye for the ball again, that IQ. It's one of the highest on this Indiana team.
Franks matched up with Wilkerson. Here's Lamar Jones on the handoff, tipped away by DeVries, and bodies hit the floor. The ball is loose, more bodies on the floor before the ball goes out of bounds just in front of us. And look, it's a 40-point game late in the first half, and you still got multiple Indiana players diving on the floor. Watch this intensity from DeVries and then Connor Enright as well.
Yeah, it was just a real scrap. That throw a little bit high, and Enright had to go diving. But I looked immediately over at Darren DeVries and the bench. They were loving the effort. Want to see them put out that kind of effort every single play, every single game, no matter the opponent.
So Tucker DeVries to inbound. 2.5 to go, first half. Indiana looking for 60 points in the first half, and there you go. Tucker DeVries up well over 20 points already. 5 of 7 from three-point range in the first half. Indiana nearly 60% from downtown as a team.
It's been so difficult for Marian because when they get that quick ball movement going, he's just got so much space.
As Humphrey makes the floater. Aaron Humphrey, another one of those players with Division I experience. Went to St. Francis, then went to Glen Oaks Junior College in Michigan. Now playing at the NAIA level for Marian. DeVries in the corner. Matched up against Franks. Cross-court pass to Bailey. Inside he goes, blocked away by Noah Lovin. Reed Bailey, 7 inches taller than Noah Lovin, but good defensive effort by Lovin, the Jeffersonville native.
And Reed Bailey again showing his size, but also his ball handling ability. DeVries said that he wants to see him take the ball up the floor in transition, kind of use his speed and his strong ball handling ability. Not something you see from a lot of guys that are 6'10".
He's 6'10", but he handles like a guard, and he's great passing the ball. Screams mismatch as Bailey makes the first free throw. So these teams now a combined 13 of their last 14 from the floor. Scoring pace definitely amping up on both sides.
Yeah, it is, and that's where, if you're either side, you want to see that defense step up a little bit. That's why Darren DeVries says that he wants to see a bit of that defensive chemistry come together, because when you play such a fast style of basketball, it gives way a little bit for the other team to also find holes and score themselves.
Bailey misses the second free throw. Rebound to Lamar Jones. Lovin brings it off, or gives it off to Humphrey, I should say. Guarded out there by Bailey. Now Lovin and Miles going head-to-head, and he had that one wrestled away. Sisley pushing the pace. Here's Josiah Miles. Miles back outside. Connerway over to Reed Bailey. And he goes through the paint but misses the layup. Lovin there for the board. Final minute of this first half coming up. It has been frenetic, to say the least. Up top, Humphrey. Lovin thought about it. Now he'll try inside, blocked away by Sam Alexis. See him inside the paint, very physical on every possession. Time for Connerway here, one-on-one. Takes it all the way to the hole. Count it, and the foul. Darren DeVries talked about how Tatum Connerway can break down defenses at times. Right there, driving inside. He draws the contact from Noah Lovin. It's the second foul for Lovin, but in the final minute of this first half, probably not too much of a concern.
Yeah, I wouldn't say so. And Connerway, you mentioned his versatility and how he can really break defenses down. It's a combination of A, that quick first step, and B, the fact that he had 162 assists last season with Troy. He can distribute the basketball like nobody's business. He may not be the best three-point shooter by any means in the conference, but he's got an ability to handle the ball and share the wealth that a lot of other point guards don't necessarily have anymore.
And Connerway took Troy to its first NCAA tournament in 8 years. Just the Trojans' third berth all time in the Big Dance. A chance at a three-point play, and he makes good on it. So a few substitutes for Indiana. Andre Achimovic, Trice Grinsing, and Ian Stevens on the floor. So in the dying stages of this first half, a taste of the walk-ons for the Indiana fans. Ron Rutland bringing it up the floor. One of the players Pat Knight talked about, he's trying to get back to the Division I level. Humphreys tries a three and knocks it down. Aaron Humphrey, the JUCO product. And now the Hoosiers have a chance to hold for the final shot, as Miles likely will dribble this down under 10 seconds. Achimovic there to set the screen. Miles uses it. Trying to get into the paint, passes it off to Sisley. Back to Achimovic, off glass and good as the clock hits 0. The Hoosiers with 6-7 points in the first half of play under Darren DeVries from Simon Scott Assembly Hall.